Today's society, we live such hectic lives and moving all around, but you have such a mixture of nationalities, religions, and cultures in any state. I don't think there's too many cities or towns in the United States now where you don't have such a big mix of folks that are coming together. So it's important that there is dialogue there and breaking down any perceived barriers that might be out there and educating people about the different cultures. And the meal is one thing, what the center does, and the different things in the community is what. I mean, you look at the folks that came to this function tonight from a variety of backgrounds, both ethnic as well as religious backgrounds, and it really helps because it gets that message out that, hey, we may come from all different backgrounds and religions, but we're all working to the same thing, making this place a better place to live.
Keynote speaker, U.S. Representative Charlie Dent, brought the message of the night home.
And so we have to spend a great deal of our time talking to our friends and neighbors who may not have as deep an understanding, perhaps, as they should, of the world in which we live. And that is something that I think that this group, that this Lehigh Dialogue Center will help us to educate people about each other and about the fact that there's much more that unites us as people than divides us, whether we call ourselves Christians or Jews or Muslims or Hindus. And I think that is just something that that's the real value in an organization like this one. And again, I also applaud the Jewish Christian Institute at Muhlenberg and others who are engaged in similar types of dialogue. It is extremely helpful to me, is even more important to people in our community who may not have access to some of the information that many of you have access to. I think this is extremely important for us to, again, recognize that we all are bonded by our common humanity, and that even though we may embrace different faiths and points of views on various issues, that these types of dialogues, I think, take us a long way in understanding each other and helping to facilitate and advance a more peaceful and just solutions to our problems, and certainly facilitates greater understanding among all people. So with that, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I enjoy the food, by the way. Something about Mediterranean food, Middle Eastern food, that is just first rate, and the baklava looks very good.
Here tonight you have people of many different faiths here together, again, celebrating the richness of each of our traditions and heritages and cultures and faiths. And I think that that's extraordinarily important to all of us.
Our society is becoming increasingly diverse, and as a world we're increasingly interconnected, so I think it's extremely important to start a dialogue, to maintain that dialogue.
As a Muslim, it's our duty to show the public what Muslims are, and we have to, part of the dialogue, we have to talk with everybody, and we have to introduce ourselves, because there's a whole lot of negativity about Islam and about Muslims, and it's our job as Muslims to dispel this negativity and convert that into positive.
If you want to accomplish anything, you have to work as a group, and you have to make small the differences and make big the things you have in common. And it doesn't necessarily have to be religious. It can be cultural. It can be countries. It can be race. It can be many, many differences that people have to overcome and work on.
I'm Christian, and I have a lot of Christian friends and who don't have an opportunity to get to know Muslims. They don't have Muslims as neighbors or whatever. And I think there's suspicion among people when they don't know people. But when you can put a face to somebody and you get to talk to them, it really does promote understanding.
People are usually scared of what they don't know. So that was the case. They didn't know any better, so they were scared of the people in this area. But the more you talk about yourself, your neighborhood, your religion, your culture, they feel more comfortable. And I guess that's the way it should continue if you want to introduce ourselves into the United States.
I think people as a whole tend to be suspicious of people that are different, and the only way you're going to get past that is to get them to get to know one another. And I think when people get to know each other, they realize that really we're basically all the same underneath.
First, we wanted to bring community leaders, the leaders of the non-profit organizations, leaders of the churches, synagogues, and other non-profit organizations like Amnesty International was here today, and Red Cross was here today, Latino, Hispanic group leaders was here today. So we can bring leaders first on the table and then it's going to be cascading effect to the members of that leaders in their own institutions, whether it's church or synagogue or non-profit organization.
UNESCO has declared 2007 the Year of Rumi. 800 years after his birth, this symbol of tolerance and compassion is remembered in countless celebrations. Reflections recently visited one such event.
Chicago, a world-class city with an all-American heart. Cosmopolitan, forward-thinking, ethnically diverse. It's a town that embraces people from many walks of life. The members of the Chicago community sought to lift their city even higher. They gathered at the University of Chicago in an evening titled Rumi, A Voice for Our Times. Sponsored by the Niagara Foundation, the program would celebrate Jalaluddin Rumi in fitting style. Visitors first enjoyed a reception. It was a chance to make new acquaintances and rekindle old friendships. The audience watched a short film. It told the story of Mevlana in brilliant color. Dr. Marcia Hermanson would give the first presentation. She took the night's theme and turned it into a question. Is Rumi a voice for our age? The professor turned to Rumi's own work for answers.
Rumi, therefore, speaks to the concerns of our age in exemplifying a faith and spirituality that is grounded in an Islam that is loving, cultured, and at times ecstatic. The fact that UNESCO has designated 2007 as the Year of Rumi indicates that Rumi's art reached a level of world civilization, and that his message can be shared by all civilizations and peoples, secular, New Age, religious, atheist,